Okay, so welcome everybody. We are self-initiated sisters vetted by our hive, hoping to bring nectars from the goddess and her bee goddesses in order to soothe, inspire, and strengthen our people. We ask that you please honor and protect your own boundaries and take only that which brings sweetness and healing, releasing that which does not serve. We offer these things humbly from the heart and spirit of our collective, and from myself, and from today's priestesses. Today's poem will be called Metempsychosis, and it's by an author named Bradley McCallum. And today's guest reader will be Jen Marie. And then our singer today will be Angela Jean Rosehart, and both dear friends and sisters. So thank you for taking the time to be devotional together today, and let us begin. The poem is called Metempsychosis by Bradley McCallum. And I'm going to turn on my flashlight here. Okay. Some stories last many centuries, others only a moment. All alter over that lifetime like beach glass, grow distant and more beautiful with salt. Yet even today, to look at a tree and ask the story, "Who are you?" is to be transformed. There is a stage in us where each being, each thing is a mirror. Then all the bees of self pour from the hive door, ravenous to enter the sweetness of flowering nettles and thistle. Next comes the ringing a stone or violin or empty bucket gives off. The immeasurables continue singing before it goes back into story and feeling. In Borneo, there are palm trees that walk on their high roots. Slowly, with effort, they lift one leg, then another. I would like to join that stilted transmigration to feel my own skin vertical as theirs, an ant road, a highway for beetles. I would like, not minding whatever travels my heart, to follow all the way into leaf form, bark furrow, root touch, and then keep walking unimaginably further. The reason, well, some of the things that I made notes about this poem, and I thought we could break it down as we sort of let it settle in. And the reason why I chose that poem is the first part of it for me, some stories last many centuries, others only a moment, brings to mind the concept of intergenerational life. Because everything we do in this moment, the micro decisions are the decisions that make up a lifetime. The big decisions are cool, like whether we move or whatever, but the small decisions are the one that keep your teeth in your head, that enabled you to have a nice big smile your whole life, you know? So brushing your teeth keeps teeth. So it's these little decisions, and overall the whole story gets marked with salt. And to me, that means like the winds of time and the tears of intergenerational joys and sorrows, you know, how one thing goes to the next. And then when he says, yet even today, to look at a tree and ask the story, "Who are you?" is to be transformed, reminds me about animism and just knowing that every single thing in the world and then the stars and beyond has sentience. And is my greatest hope in this lifetime to develop a way of communicating with these great forces of energies that are on the planet. And then they bring up, then the bees of self pour from the hive. Oh, there is a stage in us where each being, each thing is a mirror. And then the bees of self pour from the hive door, ravenous to enter the sweetness of nettles and thistles. And thistle is my family flower. It's on the crest, the Scottish crest. So I have a relationship with thistle. And I thought that, that the world is such a mirror, and we dive into it regardless of whether it's going to prick us or not. Nettles and thistles, the sweetness of nettles and thistles, that the act of being fully in oneself and fully allowing love of the world around us to flow out can sting. And nettles are important because I have arthritis, and nettles help arthritis. So in the pain of grasping and the pain of overwork, the pain of overusing my hands, to still go forward into that thistle patch, into that nettle patch of life, and continue to create, to continue to milk the sweetness of the experience. And then when you say that there's a mirror, so they say the ringing of the violin or the ringing of the bucket, that's the action. Whatever you do causes a reaction. Why do the bees pour from the hive door? They're reacting to the smell and perfume of the nettles and the thistles. They're being drawn out into the nettles and thistles. So why are they pulling out of the experience of just releasing and swarming toward joy? Affects everything around it. So the ringing bucket, the ringing violin, getting into song, the joy, I'm going to sing my song today, the joy of that, it affects everything around you. And then when that moment stops, everything goes back to its own story, but it's affected by the song. So the mirror isn't only the song, it's the sorrow, it's the damages, it's the wounds. So what we experience also, the world also sees and also responds to. And who's to say that that isn't also fully a song? So everything's affected by us. And the bee's song continually includes us. And if we're living in right action in the world, we're singing the song of the bee. We're singing the song of the energies around us through our actions. So I would like to join that. They talk about how the tree moves. Well, dandelions do that also. Jacqueline Freeman taught me that she watched the dandelions over seasons move across her yard, that the roots went down and brought up the minerals, and the seeds went to the next place, and the roots went down and brought up the minerals, and the seeds blew over here. So the dandelions moved across the yard like a slow moving patch of sunlight over time. And that's what reminds me of the forest, that the forest would also be walking across the planet, not only through its own saplings, but these trees here that potentially move. Like, I don't know what this author is talking about. I'd like to find out as an ethnobotanist, the ethnobotany or the botany of that, like if they really do that. But it shows that there's things that are so slow on the planet that are affected so slowly on the planet that, throwing down a road can change the whole life experience of a being who thinks they're moving just along in a nice steady life clip. And then all of a sudden, we're cutting the roots. So the idea is to slow down and look at the small things and just take ourselves from the giant into the micro, and just like observe the micro moment and if we can just do that once in a while and bring ourselves into the micro moment, then we can really maybe meet another style of energy or another form of energy. And so that's kind of that about the poem. There's some thoughts I had about that. I'm talking about I would like not minding whatever travels my heart. Like, yeah, wouldn't that be cool if we could just sit in a moment and not be stressed out that what's going to come up, like I'm sitting there beating myself up or thinking of things I have to do or trying to figure out a problem, instead of just allowing ourselves like, just don't worry about what happens for a minute. Just just like for 1 minute, be tiny and let it go. Just let it go. To follow it all the way. Well, what would that be like to follow that peace all the way out into everything you're touching, into the leaf furl, uncurling, like reaching. Everything just has that grace. And while I was goofing around with some stuff Jen and I are working on, I came across a concept by one of the first, this sage who was on the cusp of the patriarchy in the Delphi. His name is Thales of Melitus, who, from what Jen and I could see, seems the most like matrifocal or pagan focused kind of. He ruled the area through communal efforts and was one of the early founders of democracy, Grecian democracy. And they say that the Delphic, the Delphic laws were taught to Apollo by the Pythia. Well, this guy was one of the people that was downloading the laws in culture. So he came up with this term philotimo or philotimo. And it's kind of a Central Greek philosophy. And it is, it really sets the tone, like, you're not Greek if you don't have this vibe, is kind of the way that this word is. And it's love of honor. But it's not just honor, like I'm going to behave myself and do the right thing in the moment. It's like loving your ancestors and being honored to your ancestors and knowing the honorable acts of the ancestors, recognizing that you're here and the laws are just because the ancestors are doing the right thing, and then making sure that you're in that river of ancestry and you love humanity so much and you love your people and community so much that you're willing to send out rules and laws and justice from you to continue this quality of philotimo, the love of humanity. Some of the ways that this author that I read about says about that, it's a deep love of so it starts with your own behavior, our own behaviors, having a love for, I made a good choice. Like I did a miracle today, I made a miracle happen. I was magical. I did the right thing. Like, I love my honor. Wow, thank you, self. And then coming out into your family, loving your family. Wow, you really honored our family today by doing something that was for the good of yourself and everybody else. My son getting up and shaving, that's a big deal around here. I love that you brought honor to my family and you look amazing. Because I'm proud of you, and then a deep love of our country. That's a hard one, but to recognize that even people that are the opposite, even the enemy, and I think the enemy is within my own land, they are the enemy of the world, the certain type of people that I'm speaking of. How can I love even the sinner among us? And that is where we bring the prayer of the beauty path to all, not only myself and my family and the people that I agree with, but to my enemy, and that I bring love and compassion to them and help teach them honor somehow, some way. But all I can do today is just act honorably myself. And then also about one society. So how do we show philotimo to society? We behave in an honorable way. We take that micro moment and behave in an honorable way. And philotimo also extends to the greater good. So it is the deep sense of the egalitarian indigenous qualities that's at the heart of these Cretan and Greek laws that created thoughts like democracy. So even just the one thought of honor of myself and family, honor of my country, honor my society, and honor of the greater good, how much that can flow through us like a tree that walks across the landscape. We teach our children to stand this way also. And we teach the people around us to stand this way also. And by walking across the landscape, we can change the landscape. So that's what I thought came to today. So next, I'd like to, I'll let you know what's coming next is I'd like to spend a few minutes in meditation, 5 senses meditation. We'll just go over it briefly. And just as a reminder, this is a great daily practice or moment or or practice in a moment when you need it. I like to do this one on the airplane before I go flying, because that helps me calm down. So let's just walk through it briefly, and then at some point I'm going to do a nice recording. But you can remember it yourself and practice it yourself. You don't need anybody to show you, because you know your five senses. So I like to start with sight and eyes open in a comfortable position. And those of us that know, this is the Brahmari Mudra, where we take our ego finger and we kind of roll it under, and we connect the middle finger and the thumb. And this is the flower, and this is the bee, and this is the flower, and this is the bee. And this does a certain thing in our minds where we're releasing self and opening more up to community, from what I understand, from what I've been taught about that. But it's traditional with the Brahmari vocalization. So with the eyes lightly open, and a Buddha smile on the face, just relaxing. Just allow vision to enter the mind, and just to bear witness to what's in front of us and around us. Peripheral vision, light and shadow. We're not necessarily looking around. We're just being in passive observance of the eyes and sight. Just allow it to come in. Form, matter, void, movement, stillness. Let the eyes just gently close and give thanks to the eyes. Thanks for the power of an ability of sight, for the gift of sight, so that we can see so much beauty in the world. To give thanks, Creator, for this perfect system of sight, so that I may know beauty before I even register it in my brain. The beauty interests me. Next to the to sound, to hearing, and notice these catcher's mitts on the side of our heads that have sort of rivulets and a drain, and sound is just draining into the ear canal. And there's a drum in there, your first drum. And inside there is the little bones that are tapping it out. Listen to the heartbeat of the planet through this. Listen to the sounds around us. Machine sounds and outside sounds. Thank you, Creator, for giving me the gift of hearing, so that I may hear the music of the world and the heartbeat of the world. Thank you, Creator, for this perfect system coming into my brain before I even know the music enters me. Next, the sensation of touch. Top of the head, the face, the back of the head, the throat, the neck, shoulders, arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, fingertips, front and back, special places, thighs, knees, shins, calves, ankles, feet, and toes, skin, the skin we're in. Notice the clothes, notice gravity. Notice gravity pulling us toward the earth. The mother is reminding us that we are hers. We give thanks for the skin, the boundary of body, the breathable, permeable perfume maker. Thank you, skin. Next, to taste, follow the swallow. Notice in the body that the mouth is a place where everything that gives its life for us meets its end. And we give thanks at such an offering so that we may live. We give thanks for the species that are in the belly and in the colon and in the intestines that make soil. Thank you for the forest within me. And notice how I am a superorganism. I give thanks for this wisdom, following the swallow. I am a hollow tube, and nature serves me, and I serve nature. And blessed be the soil makers. And then to the sense of smell, the reminder of the breath of life, the perfume of the world that creates memories. Let's take 3 nice breaths. And on this last one, join me in a nice, long, relaxing home sound of Brahmari. Bringing the hands to the heart and allow the body to come into this moment again. Thank you for this reminder of 5 senses. Coming into center and slowly allowing our eyes to open. Give a little stretch. Yeah, and now, darling Jen, would you like to read?
All right, can you hear me okay?
There you go.
Is that better? Okay. All right, I have chosen to share maybe my favorite poem. I don't know, that's hard to choose, but it's from this book. It's called How to Bless the New Moon, and it's by Rachel Kahn. It's called The Priestess Path Cycle and Other Poems for Queens. And this is my very favorite poem, certainly, in this work. It's called Prophetess. Don't misapprehend history's dismissal to be a legitimate reflection of your alleged invalidity. This suppression is systemic, intended to implant you with self-doubt and worse. Tell them you've come to get your drum back. They've rehearsed this for centuries. They've shamed you for your revelations as a child, been training you to doubt your intuition since the beginning. It's a matter of tuning in to the right frequency, cleaning your receiver, respecting the sensitivity of your equipment. Tell them you've come to get your drum back. It's a matter of the gratitude that knocks you to your knees, the bravery that looks demons in the mirror, in the face, the real sacrifice, the blood and guts kind. Every destiny exacts its own heavy price until you are nothing but dying. It's a matter of acknowledging the well sprung up and wandering with you through the wilderness like a faithful familiar, mandrake and fennel flower issuing forth from the earth in a ground corona around it. It's a matter of quieting, of listening to everything until you are still enough to let the bush of jasmine croon its swoon perfume all over you. It's a matter of knowing you don't deserve it. Could you have been made any other way, creature that you are? Have you not prayed and prayed to be made vessel? Then be, not surprised but still, amazed when fluid revelations channel through you are granted safe passage. You remember, it is a rush, warm, whisper kiss of an itch that has to be scratched or kissed back, just between your ear and your jaw, until everything in you becomes the longing to part your own lips, your own sea of reeds. And when your heart explodes into 1,000,000 phantom dancer spirits, you let the prophecy pour out. You tell them you've come to get your drum back. Thank you.
And thank you. Angela, would you like to sing?
I will unmute myself. Can you hear me? I have dogs, but I think I've dealt with them, so one is right here. So I just want to say my ancestors are Irish and Norwegian, and we had drums. And so I really appreciated that poem. It was beautiful. And I've connected to drum medicine very strongly, which is interesting because I've always been a singer, but I was shamed, and so I stopped singing. So the drum really brought me back to my voice. And in 2013, I made a red drum, my own red drum in Mount Shasta. And I absolutely love that drum. It's lightweight, and it's a woman's drum. And then I have a dear brother, Anthony Walking Crow, who makes drums. And he made this buffalo drum for me, and I put red fabric on it. So I'm going to use buffalo medicine this morning because I love this drum. And I often put water on it, and I'm a water priestess, and so I call it water buffalo medicine because it helps it deepen. I like a deep sounding drum. I don't like a high pitched one. So I'm going to sing 2 songs this morning. One of them, and both of these songs came to me. They're my medicine songs. I try not to regurgitate medicine. I try to find my own. And so this first one is called AEI, and it's an elemental. It's all about getting to the basic, getting down to the basics of elemental majesty and the elemental connection. So I usually sing this first so that we arrive. And it's very basic. And so when it came to me, you'll see what I mean. It's very elemental because it's the vowels. And then the second song I'm going to sing is called De La Ewa. And I had a sister that spoke to me in light language, and one piece that really came through was De La Ewa, De La Way, which to me came through as we are of the mother, we are of the water, we are of the mother's waters.
Thank you, Angela and Jen, for beautiful choices and masterful delivery of beautiful work. And thank you, everyone, for coming today to share this time together and to spending the time, the luxurious time, to be devotional together. So thank you very much.